distraction tactic. Sam, as a longtime 3-year subscriber, please hear me out. Genuinely curious what makes you repeatedly call Hamas a terrorist organization. It was a terrorist attack, and like any other violent militia which goes off the rails, those perpetrated it should be brought to justice. But calling Hamas tags that mainstream media and Israel lobby wants us to call them a distraction and blunts our attack needed for the rights of Palestinians. Their resistance group with extreme sections, DVR. Well, I mean, I think I've gone back and forth in saying, Hamas militant group and terrorist group. I mean, Hamas also provides social services to some degree. They're also, not terribly democratic, in terms of like having elections and whatnot. They're also a fervent religious fundamentalist group. You could say also they're an Islamist, group, as it were. I mean, I think right now the reason why we're talking about Hamas is because they just committed a really big terrorist attack. And this was not like a rogue faction of Hamas. You're talking about maybe 30 to 40,000, people who consider them part of Hamas, and maybe that's who would be fighters. I don't know that they're always functioning in that way, but that is their, the militant group, I guess, armed fighters, 30, 40,000 maybe. And there was at least, 1,500 were killed in Israel, and some amount fled Israel, obviously with hostages. So I don't know how many, actually crossed the border. It was 7,000, 5,000, 3,000, 2,000. I don't know. I mean, so I think I'm not worried about Hamas's, reputation per se. It is definitely born out of two things. Hamas was born out of three things, right? It was born out of like an extreme fundamentalist group. It was midwifed in many respects by Israel as a counterbalance to Fatah and ultimately the Palestinian Authority. And it's born out of an oppressed people who are trying to liberate themselves. So, sometimes people say it's not complicated. In the context of like Hamas, it is complicated, and it serves multiple different functions. I think when you're engaging in this conversation at this time, my rhetoric will shift depending on the context, frankly. And if I want to convince people who otherwise are not convinced in the humanity of Palestinian people, to have to litigate the nuances of Hamas, as in the context of what I do on this program, it does not seem to be a worthwhile project in that respect. It just doesn't. Maybe at a different time it makes more sense, but that's why.